Hello, my beautiful souls. Here we are again with a personal read. And this is pulling in on the masculine of the twin flame dynamic. Okay, so what I am feeling is there's a definite resistance when it comes to his energy right now. There is a resistance. I feel like his soul is just yearning and longing to feel that love. But he has a fear, and this fear is more so of some type of an attachment. He is happy and he does feel secure where he is at in his life, but it's almost like it's some type of a facade. It's like at this time, he really wants to feel that love. His soul is just longing for it. And it's like, it's time. But he has this inner struggle. And he has some doubt. And he is kind of in an emotional place where he feels that he really needs to hide his emotions and hide and isolate what his true feelings are. I feel that he has this fear, and with this fear, if he were to become attached to someone or something, or even in a relationship, he feels that there would be some type of disappointment. So he has a guard up, but it's at that point where that guard is going to come down. I feel like, he is awakening and he is finding more of his self. He's learning more of the patterns that he has. And emotionally, he's aware that he hasn't been totally honest with himself. So I do feel that he is a very patient person and likes to take things slow. But because he feels happy and content, and at this time it's not so much that he's ready for a relationship, but it's his soul that's longing to feel that love. I do feel that once he does make that step, that he's a very trustworthy person. And when he makes that step and when he makes that commitment, he's in it 100%. But I feel like there's working, and I don't know if it has to do like with his work and his career, what he's doing, where he's trying to keep his focus on moving forward. But at this point in time, he's very reluctant to commit into a relationship. He does stand guard only because of that fear of attachment. He gives so much, but then he feels like he needs to withdraw. And even though this doesn't appear out in the open where you can actually see and feel like, oh, he's withdrawn, this is something that goes on inside of him. Okay, but I do see that he will start to open up. I do feel that he will start to open up, and probably coming into this new year, he's gonna step in to a place in his life where he feels like he can open up, he can release a lot of this pattern. It's like he's becoming aware. So as far as where he is his awareness on this journey. Right now, it's a lot of self-realization where he's becoming aware of the patterns that he has, and he's becoming aware of those fears that he has, and that he's going to realize that he can enjoy the moment and not assume that attachment will bring a disappointment. Because that is one of his fears. That is where his doubt is. That's where the inner struggle is when it comes to relationships, where he feels reluctant to get involved with somebody or to let his wall down 100%. He's growing and his soul has that longing. So once he kind of in his ego realizes okay, I have these patterns, that's when his soul is going to move into front and center and take control. It's like he's going to come into this surrender, and he doesn't want this anymore. He wants the change. He wants to feel that love. He wants to have that relationship. But because he's a very patient person, he likes to take things slow. So even if like you're having that communication, he's evaluating every move that he makes and that people around him make. He's not going to jump into a relationship because he is a very patient person. And again, I do feel that he's hiding a lot of his own emotions from himself. And this is where a lot of his self-realization is going to come in. He isolates his feelings, and he tries to hide his true feelings, especially with matters of the heart. So if you are in communication or in contact with him, it's going to be kind of hard to read him, because he really knows how to isolate and set those feelings like on the back burner. So he's not like a book you can read. You can't read the book by the cover. He's been doing this for quite some time. And it is because he does have that fear of attachment. So somewhere along the line, he's given his all, and he's been disappointed. So now he's very reluctant. But I do feel like his soul is just longing and yearning to feel that love. Like his soul is wanting to feel home. But he's not, he himself is not totally opening up. But I do feel that he will open up, and he will be letting that guard down. And, you know, he will be releasing some of that fear that he has. But he does have, you know, that issue where he does feel like if he gets too close, then he becomes vulnerable. And if he becomes vulnerable, of course, he's going to be hurt. So it's almost like, you know, he'll give so much, and then it's like, oh, whoa, let me pull back. So he's not quite there yet, but he's coming around. So I do feel like there is like a renewal. There is a renewal coming, and it's coming, and it's like it's going to be beautiful, and it is very much led by the Spirit. So as he's patient, you know, you just kind of got to give him that time and that space, but also give him that love and that support. So I don't know if you're in contact with him, because I'm not feeling this clear, but, you know, emotionally, he hasn't been honest with himself. But I do feel that he does feel that there's something more. And that's why he's going more into, like, for all of us on the journey, when we had that feeling like there has to be something more than this. There has to be something more than this. And we began to really go deeper and deeper. I feel like he's at that point where he feels there has to be something more. And this is where he is being led by his guides and his spirit. I do feel, not saying he's at a undecided of what he wants, because he does know what he wants. He's just afraid to let down that guard. And it's not a really thick guard, but he's just afraid to let his true self be seen, because if he does, then he becomes vulnerable. But I do see that he is a very loving, compassionate, and a trustworthy person. When he does commit, he's in 100%. So right now, the advice or the tools that I would give you is just to continue to be love and support and nurturing to yourself. And if you are in contact with him, just to continue to nurture the relationship or the friendship, whatever your connection is with him at this point. It's so much more like just an inner struggle for him, but his soul is just longing to feel that love. So it's like he's hungry for it, but he's afraid, because it's he's wounded. So I think he does feel a strong connection, and that kind of scares him. So as far as his journey and where he is, I do feel that he feels this connection, but he has that fear. He doesn't want to put himself in a position where he's vulnerable, so he pulls back. But I do feel that coming into this new year, he's going to let that wall down. Yeah, I feel like he's really going to let that wall down. But it's like he feels this connection. So he feels a connection that something's there, and he's being drawn to it. But he has this fear and he has this doubt. So that's him. Maybe even a fear of failure. So he is really kind of diving in to his work, to what he's doing, to his education. It's not like he's just wasting time. He's really trying to keep his mind busy. So I think the more busy, the more he's able to release a lot of this energies that are negative, that are holding him isolated from his true emotions. So, yeah, I do feel that coming into this new year, 2017, there's going to be a lot of change in his energy. But he really just needs to overcome that fear. But he does feel a connection, so it's like it scares him, and he has doubt. So, okay, I'm just trying to see if I can get any other message here for you. I feel that's about it. Just that this is his inner struggle right now. And it's because he's not being totally honest with himself. But he's about to have that breakthrough. But because he's such a patient person, and us females aren't so patient, this may be, his taking his time, being patient, going on this journey, growing and learning and becoming more aware and more conscious of what's going on and the energies and all this that's moving. Meanwhile, here you are, and you know this is him, he's my twin, and when are we going to come together? And it's like, because he's so patient, it's like you're going to have to learn to really be patient. But he definitely does feel a connection, and his soul is longing for it. But it's more like the ego is just, no, I can't. Don't do that. Don't do it. And he's happy, he's loving, he feels secure, and he's very trustworthy. But when it comes to a relationship, he feels that if he gives so much that he'll become attached. And when you become attached, then you become vulnerable. When you become vulnerable, then you set yourself up for disappointment. So I hope this does answer your question and give you some idea of where he is, which isn't, and even though it does kind of sound a little bad, it's not really bad, because I do see like a lot of love and realization. Like he's coming into that where he's realizing that, this is a pattern, this is something that I do, and it's time for me just to take that leap of faith. And that's where I feel coming into 2017, he's going to take that leap of faith and learn just to go with the emotions, go with the feeling, instead of judging it as being vulnerable or being attached. Okay, so I hope this answers your question. Again, thanks you everyone for your likes, comments, and subscriptions. And all my information is below. Namaste.